My name is Blaine Harrison. I am the Lonesome Pine Raceway champion of the Bandoleros 2016 Series Division. Well, first of all, I got a dirt bike when I was 2 or 3, and I started riding it, and I asked Dad when I was about 4 or 5. I said, "Daddy, can I race?" And he said, "Yeah, just let me get you started, get a trailer, and we'll be all right." And then we just moved on from the little TTR Yamaha to the KTM Junior, and won a few there. The senior, biggest thing that I had, and we put it there and we ended it with a concussion. Then I went to the race cars and say it's the best thing I've ever done because it's just pretty good. I like driving on the track and racing as good as I can to get us up there. It's amazing that Harrison Motorsports could get through the championship this year, and it's just amazing that we could do it.
Oh, it's great. It's just me and my son, and we work day in, day out every night and on the weekends and put this together, and we work as hard as we can. And these other guys got 7, 8, 10 people we're helping them, and like I say, it's just us two. My brother, he does spot for us, and that's the only other help we really have. But it is an awesome feeling for just me and my son. It's real great. We started in 1990 at Lonesome Pine, won the track championship in '92 in Limited Sportsman, and we've had lots of seconds and thirds in championships. And then '07 we won the ASA track championship at Lonesome Pine. And last year and this year has been really awesome. I tell you, we ran both tracks. We've run a lot of races between these two tracks, and have won races at both tracks, and it feels great to do that. Like I say, we just got to continue on the success and hopefully have good luck.
It feels pretty good to finally clinch a Modified Street Championship at Lonesome Pine. I started in '08 mini stock. I run about 3 or 4 races at the end of the year, and then I run a little bit in '09, and I got me a late model off of Wayne Hale, and I raced it, I guess, off and on until about 2012, and then I quit for a couple years, and I started back racing and got me a street stock, and me and my boy both raced. We raced consistent, and I lucked up and got me a championship. Well, it feels really good. We started out just trying to let him do the best that he could do, and we focused on him, and we put this car last. And after everything was tied up with him and he was good to go, then we worked on this car, and we just had a good time all year.
This has kind of been a family sport for us probably since the '70s. I can remember. My father used to race with Roger Clendenin and Joe Kilby and all those guys, and back then, they wouldn't let us come down the pits. The age, I think, was 18 to come in, but we sure came to the stands and did what we could, and it's kind of like, once that got started, we just kept coming to this place. Raced up here when it was dirt, and did a few deals with that. And I went to military service and gone for several years, and we kind of raced out west there and came back, and I had, my 2 boys, we picked up the sport, and they've kind of kept the family tradition going, and I don't know, we've kind of enjoyed this stuff for the last 30 years, I guess, off and on. My brother Mark, he kind of run the late models there back in the late '90s and early 2000s, and I didn't really run none with him. I was off in the military. I lived out of state, and once we all got back together, we kind of started this thing back up again, and here we are again, kind of rubbing fenders with everybody, and it's been a pretty good story with us over the last 30 years in around track racing.
Well, we started racing, and we built a car in 1989 to race here at Kingsport Speedway. It was the last race of the year when it was still dirt, and we loaded the car, brought it down here, and there wasn't no race. It rained it out, so that old fella that lived down here, I believe his name was Watt, he told us they was racing down at the Gap, so we drove on down to the Gap, and Kelly, my partner at the time, he started, he was going to drive the first race, so it was his turn. And he qualified 18th and finished 6th that night. We've had a lot of sponsors over the years, but the biggest one we've had, I guess, would be Mountain Empire Fence, kind of a self-financed operation. But I gotta think, you know, this year, this championship, it wouldn't happen without Marty, Tim Barnett fixing the motor, Stacy Castle, Jeff Wallen, Tom Hodges, all those guys, you know, they just a big influence on this championship.
It was an awesome opportunity to be able to race against my grandfather, which I've been watching him race for, I'd say, 20-some years, and Rocky another 10 years, watching Billy race against them, hard racing, and to finally get the opportunity to race against them and actually beat them and win a championship is awesome. I don't know if I will step up. It's kind of a family tradition to run the Mod 4s. Hopefully to get my stepfather, Rocky Yates' Mod 4 for next year and run it and try to win a championship with it. My biggest influence would probably have to be Rocky Yates, my stepdad. He's taught me a lot over the years, having to watch him and watching him move up through the ranks from Coburn to Kingsport to Motor Mile, one of the biggest competition places around here for Mod 4, and win a championship. You have to be him.
I just got to thank Kenny most of all for giving me the opportunity to race. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. I've enjoyed it more than pretty much anything else I've ever done. It's definitely had a big impact on my life, and it's pretty much a two-man operation all year. It was just me and him, and you know, it's hours upon hours upon hours go into these things, and some people just don't realize how much work it takes. So it's been great to be able to build that bond with him, and I'll cherish that forever. I got to thank Jamie at Center Street Machine Shop. He always helped us out. Ted and Robert at Ultrafine Automotive, and Deidre and David Ward at High Performance Lubricants in Illinois. And then obviously Toyota, which is the shop Kenny owns. That's where it all comes from, so thanks everybody.
My interest in racing was kind of about all my life, being into watching it, TV and stuff when I was a kid and stuff. But started racing in 1998 at Lonesome Pine, mini stock. Ronnie Compton actually gave me a car to race, and kind of been on from then. All right, you know, 2001 we had a rookie year down here, and 2000 we got that championship, and then in 2002 we actually came down and missed the whole track championship by 1 point. Had a lot of good guys and stuff. You know, I was kind of the young guy on the block, and you know, was learning, and you know, it was just always a battle out here. The older generation of racers were, you know, it was a different field than what you got now. But you know, 2003 we raced over at Lonesome Pine, and then we kind of took off a couple breaks. You know, a couple years we didn't come back and race until 2012, and in 2014 we actually clinched the championship down here at the track in the state, and then finally we got this one back this year, 2016 state champion in Tennessee. So we're very proud to represent the state and the track as well. My influence in racing, you know, has been a couple different people in my life, but you know, probably my biggest is probably like Danny Burks. Danny Burks was my favorite. You know, he was crew chief on the car, friend of the family, cousin. He was like a dad a lot of times, and grandpa. I mean, he was just always there when we needed him. And you know, he's in a better place now, and we all miss him. Think about him a lot. We support him and carry his number on the car always, and you know, I'd say he was probably my biggest inspiration to stay racing when we was there. I mean, it was always, when you won, man, the smile on his face was big. So I always remember that.
Yeah, Rob, right now I'm glad he's in a different division, because he's probably one of the toughest guys I've ever raced. And it just, I don't know, me and him, we just connect. We know when we work on the cars, we do it together, and we just get along, you know, and it seems to work out pretty good. And I'm just lucky that I have him, you know, and grateful because he's a big help. If it wasn't for him, I couldn't do what I do.
I was helping Chris on Fridays, and next thing you know, I was looking around for a car and just got back into it. I started back in, I think it was 90, but when I was a kid, I used to go to Lonesome Pine. I was back in 72, 73, and I always wanted to do it, and then they kind of opened back up in the early 90s, and I went and watched a few, and the next thing I knew, I was racing.
Well, we started the year off pretty slow. We had some mechanical issues, but then we worked through them and ended up with a track championship at the end. It was a real close battle. I'd like to say thank you to all the competitors for making it a fun year. I'd like to thank my mom and dad with Rawensville Home Parts and Service. I'd like to thank Mark Ketron. He's our crew chief. He works hard on the car throughout the week. My crew, Kelly, Mike, Lloyd, everybody that helps me through the car, Zeke Shell. I mean, so many people help me. It's hard to name them all. Chili's of Kingsport, Tennessee, A-Hood Bonding, Corner's Nest Antiques of Elizabethton, and Moon Tuxedo. Next year we're going to come out hopefully stronger than we did last year and run as many races as we can, and that will be allowed to on the budget that we set.